Hello, and I'm delighted to welcome Mark Nixon. Mark is the head of keyboard at King's College in Wimbledon. And Mark, delighted to have you here. Thank you very much for coming. Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me. It's exciting to talk to you in these times,
Yeah,
to talk to another person on a screen.
true. It's true. Absolutely true. So, Mark, of course, how have you been? Difficult time for everyone.
Do you know what? I found it really difficult. I know everyone's being positive about it, but I've really found it quite. It's been very busy, so it's not like that. There's nothing been happening, but I found it personally. I find it really difficult. The whole idea of concerts, the things that we all love so much, the communication of music in front of a live audience, um, in the way we know it and we've grown up with, is perhaps changing, perhaps not going to return in the same kind of way. I think it's a very complicated time, and I find that a little difficult to get my head around. I'm still working on it, and it's interesting how one looks around and you see what people are doing, and actually some people are doing some incredible things. Online concerts are happening, so we are communicating with people. We are bringing the music that we love to others, and giving the joy in that way, and the emotion. But it is a very strange time to feel that you know where you're going. It's hard to know what the way forward is. So I think it's sort of day by day. That's how I'm dealing with it. Just trying to do the baby steps, and try and give your students as much as you can, and not perhaps be too affected by the challenges. So just do the best you can, I think is how I feel at the moment.
Of course. Of course. Well, you're head of a very busy department. So, has there been any interesting projects or initiatives that you've done?
Well, we always at this time of year in April, normally end of April, we normally have a big piano competition. So this is perhaps the biggest thing we do with the piano, because it ranges from the youngest to the oldest. And exactly when the lockdown started, we were just nearly finishing the first round of this competition. So I'd heard maybe 60-70% of the pianists. Um, so that was suddenly gone, and I was thinking, oh, this is very sad. I was so looking forward to this whole process, and it's such an exciting time, and the pupils are motivated, and they've learnt interesting pieces. So in that break, in the March April Easter break, I was thinking, what can we do? And I was watching what other people were doing. A friend of mine in South Africa was doing weekly concerts. In fact, he did 2 concerts a week. He's done, I think it's been the last 7 weeks. He's been doing concerts every week twice, and different repertoire in every single concert. I don't know how he's done it, but he he has. And I thought to myself, well, if he can do that, maybe we can find a way to make this competition happen, and also give everybody the motivation that they need, because everyone, I think, felt a little bit, oh my goodness, what's happening? We didn't know in March whether this would be 3 weeks, or some other, huge amounts. Who knows what the amount will eventually be? And I almost couldn't believe that we were not going to be back at school in April. So we had to cancel the events in our online calendar. We had to put cancelled next to everything. And I was thinking, oh well, maybe it won't be. So in the end, I just sort of spoke to the IT people at school, and I worked out that we could actually do a video competition. So I opened it up to everybody in the school, and there were different categories for different ages, novice categories for the younger ones and also the older ones who were perhaps not as advanced. And so we made all those categories, put them all together, created a folder on the school system, and which all took an amazingly large amount of work, which I hadn't. Well, I'd never done it before, so we were all sort of, it was all finding a way to do everything. And then what is always the case in a school is that you have to promote it. You have to get speaking to teachers and saying this is a good thing. You've got this and this and this person who should be playing it or could be playing in it. So that whole process took a while. We needed special permissions because the videos, it's a different way of sending an image of parents' children playing. We wanted to possibly at the end, we weren't sure, but we wanted to be able to put some performances on the website. So we needed to get permission from everybody. So there were 122 that eventually took part. And we got 47 to the final round. And then we had an external judge, Andrew Quartermain from Procorder, to judge the seniors. And then we had internal, a group of 3 of us. For the juniors, we judged them and listened to them. And they all had to do introductions for their pieces. And funnily enough, talking to some of them, they said that was the hardest thing, to record the introduction, which they had to do some of them did over and over again. So I think some of them found a real perfectionistic streak in their personalities that they maybe didn't know that they had before. And actually the whole recording process, I spoke to one of my older students and she said it took the whole day. She was playing a 10-minute piece.
In the professional world, we're all now
Exactly.
recording and introducing and everything. Yes, gosh.
Yeah, so they were they took it really seriously, and there was some beautiful work on display and beautiful introductions, very personal. And I said to them, "Can you just tell me in these introductions? I want to know about the piece. Of course, we want to know a little bit about the composer, but I don't want to know that Bach was born in 1685 and died in 1750. This is boring. I don't want to know that. I don't want to know, where he was born and sort of, you can tell me the country, but I want to know why you play this piece. Why are you choosing to play this piece in this competition? What is it about the piece in this music that speaks to you?" And some of them took that on board and really talked about how they were feeling and how they were feeling during this time when they couldn't meet friends, they couldn't do the normal things that they want to do. The things that they were going to do were cancelled. Holidays were cancelled. Just the things that affected them, and they just brought that somehow into the introductions. And I'm always very keen on people speaking about the music that they play, if they've planned it. But I think it's really important that we get to know, why are you playing this piece, and why is this your choice for this particular moment, for this competition? And there was an extra element, I think, of real thoughtfulness that came into.
Were they also judged on their introductions or just on playing?
Yes, obviously the playing it's always going to be the most important part. But there was a prize for introductions as well. So so sometimes the prize for introductions didn't go with the prize for the performance. In fact, I don't think any of the introductions went quite with the prizes for the performance. But everyone did a good introduction. There was nothing that was, you would want to particularly change. It was just some people had perhaps more of an interesting way of, presenting the piece. So I think that's important, and I think if you've got students who are bright and are engaged, I think it's lovely to see their personality before they actually play even. So it's important.
Sure. No, I mean it's great, and I think it's so wonderful to have some goals, because so many people are left without any goals, and partly we kind of want to share with the community what have people done and what busy music departments have done, so people could follow and perhaps create their own little competitions or something. But what are your future plans?
Well, of course, there's a Beethoven year going on this year. I'm sure everyone's talking about it, and so they should. I mean, oh, poor Beethoven. I mean, what's happened? I mean, we should have Beethoven 251, I think. I think we should do it all again. Hopefully next year goes better. But all of these amazing things that were planned for Beethoven, and, who better to plan fantastic concerts and to hear all of this music, this great, great music. And it's funny how when you have an anniversary year like this one, you listen to the music, I think, just a bit more than you normally would. You hear it you see it on programs, you hear it in concerts, and it just brings home to you how great how great Beethoven is and how great the music is. So I'm planning, and let's hope something can happen with it. I'm planning a Beethoven project in November. The plan was to be I think his birthday is December, if I remember correctly. So it was sort of as close to December as it could go. just of a complete fluke because this was planned already over a year ago. So I'm putting together a sort of three-part mega sort of concert thing, which hopefully could be socially distanced. So we might be able to have small audiences in each of the parts where the different people are playing. They're not all playing in all of it. So I'm hoping that might be able to go on. And we've got a masterclass just before that from a teacher from the USA who's agreed to do it online. So I'm hoping this can work. Timing is the sort of because he's 6 hours back from us, so we have to do it sort of afternoon, latish afternoon, early evening, in 2 days rather than on one day. And so I'm hoping that we can make that work in a variety of ways. We still need to talk about a few things like sending recordings to him beforehand, just in case the connection on the day is cutting out or something happens. Which I'm a big fan of sending recordings to teachers. I mean, I've been doing it all the time with my students. It's been a fantastic thing. Actually, that is one very good thing that's come out of this. The recording process and the listening back to yourself in the recording process, because
The most painful process one can imagine.
indeed, yes. But it's been really interesting seeing a critical faculty even develop in the very youngest of the students at the school, and I think that I'm gonna try and keep that somehow in the future. I mean, face to face is always the best, I think, in terms of teaching. The sonority, the richness of the piano, we have to have that. We have to see what they're doing. We have to hear them breathing. I mean, the whole process that you don't get online. You don't get all those, obviously, those subtleties. You can't hear that through a tiny speaker. Um, but I think this recording goal process, I think that could be a very useful thing to keep. And I was thinking maybe next year doing the competition, maybe the first round should be a recorded process again. Uh, if people don't go mad and rebel.
No, that's very interesting. And of course, the recording, I mean, the more you listen, the kind of the better you want to play. So you re-record and you really sort of reevaluate what you have done. And it's almost like a self sort of teaching exercise, really. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. And
yes, I think it's a wonderful thing, and we've got all the technology. I mean, we really do have everything we need. Most people have got a phone, and it's amazing how good the quality can be if you're
mhm,
using one of those
yeah.
newer ones. Yeah, we've all got the materials to use, so I think we
Have
should.
you invested in any equipment or have you found something especially useful? Yeah.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I found in the beginning, do you know what? Not having all of your music with you, because I've got a lot of music in my studio at the school. I mean, I think I may have more than half of my music sitting there, and I took what I knew that I'd be using for the next month or two, not knowing how long this would be. But of course, we've moved on with certain repertoire with some students, and so I've found that I don't have all the music that I want. I've bought some music, but in the end, you can't keep on buying music if you've got it already. So IMSLP I found has been incredibly helpful, and actually IMSLP with interesting additions. Um, I'd forgotten about the Schnabel editions, the Beethoven Schnabel editions, um, which actually I
More
started. Those are the
writing in them
I
than
had.
notes. No, I remember
The amazing
as
notes on the
not a
bottom,
child.
yes.
It's a,
Half the pages, which is really interesting, and he's really strong with what he wants to say. No fermata here, and don't add the octave here, and things like that. So discovering that, and then maybe Busoni, Bach editions, and things like that. It was just really interesting to see these editions coming up, and all the Chopin various editions that they've got on IMSLP. So I bought an iPad because I didn't have anything like that. I was trying on the phone at first, and I just thought, no, I actually can't. I can't do this headache after every lesson. And so I bought an iPhone, and I bought a microphone that's sitting here. I bought an Ethernet cable so to connect into the router. And because my computer only has one USB, I had to buy another thing that made it into four. And then a converter for the Ethernet into a USB. But that's pretty much. I know other people have multiple camera, setups on the pedals and above the keyboard, and I didn't do that. I'm not sure how you would negotiate going from one to the other all the time. So I'm not sure how you'd use it. But I think for me, what I've come across and what I've said to students is that you have to have a good connection. That
Mm.
is actually the most important thing. And I'm sure you've experienced this where, the stopping screen and, the smile that suddenly just, stopped in midair.
It's good if it is a smile, at least.
That's good. Yeah, if it's going well, it's a smile. But I must say, this Ethernet cable going into the router actually has been a must for some students
Mhm.
because sometimes you're quite a few walls away from where the router is, and this might be fine for normal things, but just the continuation of music and the lesson. So that's what I've said to them, and I trialed some microphones with students. So I sent one to a student because I wanted to see, because it's all very well on the teacher side spending a fortune on everything that you can get, but on the student side you just got an iPhone, a tiny little phone, which seems to be not. I've just said to students, please no phones because the sound doesn't
Yeah,
work.
exactly.
So it has to be a laptop. I think now they've upgraded the iPhone, the iPads, where you can actually do the original sound on Zoom, where you can actually hear what's going on. The notes carry on sounding. So actually, I've tried, and I don't want to pressurize anyone too much, but you have to just say, well, if you want a proper lesson, you need to just buy a few things. And I think perhaps there's the same as all of us. We don't really know how long this is going to go on for. We could be going till the end of the year. We could be going longer. It might be something that returns, and we have to go back to the online way of teaching. In the very beginning, I realized I think we had a week of lessons before we went on holiday. I just thought, no, the sound I have to see. So, there's been a lot of help online. There are a lot of videos. I didn't realize a lot of people were teaching this way, or seem to have been teaching this way for a long, long time. So there have been really a lot. So I watched lots and lots of videos, and then, EPTA and various places were, doing their own conversations. So that was that was what I bought. I think an investment into this, I think it's pretty worthwhile. I think in the long run.
Oh, totally, totally. And of course, again, we also talked in other episodes, how if you use headphones, how important it is to get those that are good and, don't kind of are in your that are not in your ears directly, because, you just get a lot of headaches, of course, if you do that for a long time. Yeah, sure.
Yes, the head. I was watching one of your other videos, and those bone headphones that
Right, that's from I think Murray McLachlan. Exactly.
yes.
Yes, that's
Now
right.
that I need to look into. I hadn't even heard of that.
Oh, it's pretty
Intriguing.
extraordinary because they are advertised as the, I think, long distance runners headphones, and I think Mari suggested the title "Long Distance Piano Teachers" now as the advertising company.
I think I might try them. Because I find I have closed ear headphones, and
Sure.
it's just, I don't know, it just got really uncomfortable after a while, and they were noise cancelling, which I don't think was a good idea. But then you can't hear yourself try anything or play anything, and so you have to take off one side. So in the end, I sometimes if it doesn't go well, I've got them here, and I if I can't hear enough, then I put them on. But I'm definitely going to see if those bone headphones, those ones, they
Mm.
sound intriguing. I just would love to try them actually.
We're here to give advice as much as possible and to, to help people if anything is useful. That's brilliant. So I know you're also trying to prepare for a live streaming concert. Yeah.
Oof. Terrifying thought. Yes. End of next. So 5 weeks from now. I've not ever done from my living room. Like most of us. I know you have, but I haven't yet. I think probably I'm going to have to do some dry runs just to because there's no acoustic here. So, and actually, my piano's got broken strings on it and things at the moment. So that's going to be a preparation, making sure that it's in tune and it's working as well as it can. How am I preparing? Do you know what? It took me the longest time to get my head into the mode of choosing repertoire for that.
Yeah.
Um, because I felt I was quite busy doing the organization and the teaching, and I'm doing, as we all are, we're teaching our normal teaching, and it's quite often it takes a little bit longer setting up things and connecting and various aspects of it. And I found my whole day was taken up with that, and then the emails would start, or they would already be there waiting, and that you'd be sitting doing emails till 9, 10 o'clock in the evening. So I found the whole day was gone, and I couldn't even think about my playing. I almost didn't know how to think about uh, playing. I was sort of more worried about how it was going for the students. Are they set up properly? Can I give them something? How can I make this work and keep things moving forward? And then everything was being cancelled, and I was organizing a festival, and then I wasn't organizing a festival, and it cancelled. But then, and we didn't know that this Piano Week is the sort of online course that this is part of, and we didn't know if that was going to go ahead, and we were waiting, and then I started practicing some late Beethoven, Opus 110. I don't know why. I just thought this. I need to hear that melody. I don't know where this thought came from, but and I just thought, oh, this I understand. This piece is making me understand, but at the same time, I was terrified because I've played it before, and I know. I'm sure you probably played it. It's so many challenges in this piece. In
Absolutely.
Yeah, the end a fugue, and I kind of thought, oh goodness me, can I bring this back in time? Am I in the right frame of mind to do justice to this online in a very sort of close environment? So I have really had a lot of fun just practicing through that and working through that and just enjoying the genius of Beethoven. And then I thought, well, I really enjoyed working on the fugue, and I liked the sort of focus of that. So I thought I'd do some Bach. So I've in the end chosen to do some Bach, and I just thought I'm not going to play music. I'm just going to play music I love,
Yeah.
um, and something that I would like to bring to people. And I just think so. I'm doing a lot of slowish pieces, intermezzos, Brahms intermezzos, and a beautiful Rachmaninoff prelude, the D major.
Mhm.
Um, and some arabesques by Debussy, and a scherzo at the end, Chopin scherzo, the second one, which has also got lots of beautiful melodies.
Oh,
So it's not a conventional program, and I don't know what people will think about it, but I just thought I have to play something that I feel properly for, and just like kind of the tunes. There's something about the Debussy arabesques. I don't know what it is about these pieces. It was some of the first Debussy I ever heard, and they just speak to me. And I was teaching one of them. Maybe that was what it was, um, and I just loved it again. And I just thought, yeah, let's just play something that you love, and it might be an unusual program, but at least it'll feel something.
no,
So,
I totally. I mean, it's very good you had time. So I was asked by my family and friends to do it quite early on, and I was really laid back. I know I had a program and I was playing, performing a lot, and I was thinking this is a piece of cake. And so, yeah, none of the nerves, just literally thinking, well, this is my comfort zone, this is where I practice. And the minute I hit that button live, and there were like, over 300 people watching, I was like, oh, wow, okay. And it was going and going to like 500, and we got like 800 at
oh,
the top. And I was like, what's the next note? And it's
oh, you were
strange.
distracted. You were thinking
It was
about other.
awful. It was actually, I think it's much better to be nervous before and really treat it as a like really an important recital rather than being laid back and understanding, okay, press on and now so I think your attitude is much better than mine, at least with my first online
How
recital.
did you find the memory? Because it's sort of strange in a way to play from memory in a tiny space where you would often be working with scores. How did you find that
I
aspect?
so I had a program that I was already playing, so I felt very comfortable in this. So I didn't need to kind of repeat something. But
Yeah.
I had a program for the COP collection live streaming recital, literally streaming live the first sort of out of the lockdown concert streaming. And actually, I said, look, I want to preserve my nerves and don't have a heart attack. And I've put the iPad like flat so I can a little bit look, but I didn't really look, but it was very helpful to have it there. So,
Just for
it was
something.
just comforting because it's quite a stress as well, especially, this will be watched for a long time afterwards. It will stay in the internet. So,
Mm.
yeah, I think it's important. And I really think it's quite nerve-wracking for those who play the Big Mahal. And I think pretty much everyone has used the score at the time, which I thought was very wise.
Yes, that's interesting. I hadn't seen all of them, but the solo pianists, yeah.
Exactly.
So this is what I'm going on. But what is going on in my head is that how will it feel to play from memory? Obviously one wants to play from memory. But having the comfort and just the
I think it's, yeah.
just a slight bit extra extra
Mark,
security, I think might be a good thing.
but Mark, what are your thoughts on this in general? So where is this heading?
Oh. Well, I mean, this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Because nobody knows where it's heading, and you read many articles in newspapers and on various blogs, and people are speaking very much about this. And I can't think of any industry that's worse affected than the performing arts. I just, theatre, opera, musicals, all these forms. And if you think about it, audiences tend to be perhaps a little older, and therefore, in fact, it's a double whammy, I suppose. Is that you have the people have the confidence to come back to concerts at some point? Do we, when there's a vaccine, how good will that be? How reliable will that be? There's a sort of trust, in a way, of being close to people that's gone away, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And this whole feeling of being in a concert at the same time you're in a very private musical moment, but at the same, in the same moment you're also in a big space and many people are experiencing something profound and something moving. And that whole sense of connection, and yet at the same time your private experience, is such a special thing. And I suppose if we're going to go more online, and if the online experience is going to grow, I don't know how how that will develop. If you're just teaching or even speaking to someone on a small screen, there are so many aspects that are not being experienced there. Even just hearing someone breathing next to you, hopefully not too noisily, but this kind of like shared human experience of being in one place and something special is happening only then at that moment. And the online, as you said, the online concert that will be put somewhere and be able to be revisited. So the moment in time is no longer a moment in time; it's any time. I'm not convinced about that. I'm very uneasy about the idea of something sitting somewhere forever.
Yeah.
When, in a way, I think 100 years ago they got it right. If that was the moment, because you're freer, aren't you? You can
Got
try things, and maybe it doesn't work, but at least you did that special thing that time, and you gave it a go. And I think I don't know if playing will change
hmm
because of this. I mean, I think playing probably has changed in terms of recordings. I mean, people have to be, we have to be careful if you're playing if you're making a CD, or whatever you make now. Probably not a CD anymore, is it? But I wonder if what will this do to music making? And I don't know. I mean, I think a socially distanced concert must be possible for certain kinds of concerts. If it's a solo pianist,
Yeah.
surely it's possible in terms of economics.
Yeah.
But when it gets to orchestras and bigger productions, I really don't know. Unless maybe people start investing in equipment.
Yeah,
If it goes this way, maybe people buy huge TVs and
sure.
amazing speakers and things. But I think the live experience is such a special thing, and I don't think anyone would would want to lose that. Um, you
Yeah,
know, but I
for sure.
suppose maybe we'll enrich it. Maybe we'll add another dimension to.
Hmm.
Maybe we'll increase the accessibility of concerts.
Sure.
But economically, I don't know where that leaves people. And there's been this massive argument and debate really about do you give it away for free? You know, do you put everything online, um, and then you've done that. It's in a way not devalued, but it's it's been given away for free, and therefore the value that it had can't be used anymore. I don't know. There's a I think there's a lot of sense in that argument.
Mm-hmm.
If we make ourselves too accessible, where's the specialness in that? And the occasion of going out to a concert, you put on a jacket, you know,
Yes, of
you
course.
you do something to, yeah. When last did that happen? This is the first time this whole month probably I put on a jacket. But that's that experience of just doing something a little bit special. You might have a meal, you have a nice snack, drink in the interval or beforehand or something. How do you do that,
Yeah.
online?
Oh, well, I think we shall see, but hopefully this will be a return to the normal, old normal. Mark, and final question, if you don't mind. What would be your advice for any, let's say, pianists, younger pianists, aspiring pianists who are now left without sort of goals or motivational exams and things like that?
Mm. Yes. Well, do you know what? I think this whole thing with exams, this motivation of the all-important exam, I mean, really, in when you get out of school and out of university, your life is not dictated by exams, is it? I mean, if you're going to be a musician, it's going to be dictated by your performances and certain moments when you have to have learnt something. I think there's a whole thing of what type of goal do you need? Do you need a short-term goal? I mean, I think we should have short and medium and long-term goals, which of course is harder if you're younger because, I mean, you've got less repertoire, you've got less ability. But I think being able to maybe see where you're going to be at the next lesson,
Mhm.
having a very clear goal for what am I going to work on for the next lesson, how much time have I got, keeping the discipline of playing every day. I think it can easily. I say this for myself so much because it's so easy just not to do it. Um, if there's a sort of nebulous quality to life, you just think, well, what's the point? I mean, so in some ways, I think younger pianists are quite lucky because they have that goal.
I must tell you, I was delivering a webinar for both the Guildhall and Royal Academy of students, and I said, "You're lucky guys. You have this, structure, and you will have exams, and you're still at a part of the, your degree you're studying. When you're out of there, and you don't know when your next recital is, that's really hard."
Yeah, absolutely. At least a lesson is something to work towards. I used to get very nervous for my lessons when I was that age and when I was younger. It was an occasion. I had to- I needed to be prepared. It was something. The expectation was there to to have done some good work, and also you want to please the teacher. You want to do well. That's a natural human emotion, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially if you're younger and you know that this is something you love doing. So I think, in a way, they, as you said, they're lucky. They've got something short term to have goals. It's interesting how parents are now asking for lessons. Past when they might normally have had them, which is, I think, it could be a really good thing because you have these big holidays,
Yeah.
and I think we need breaks. I definitely think that, but things can really just kind of disintegrate sometimes, and the continuity of what they're doing kind of gets lost, unfortunately. But I think those short-term goals of lessons is fantastic. I think listen to a lot of music. It's so available now, and there's more time, I think, in many ways. Um, I think it's a wonderful thing to be able to listen to music. And if you go onto YouTube, it's incredible how it, isn't it incredible how it goes from, the links are so unbelievable. There's so much on there. So I would definitely, and also if you've got the luxury, if you're playing bigger pieces, Chopin ballads or something that really can be interpreted in many many ways, it's so interesting to listen,
Yeah,
and especially listen to older pianists from the
yeah,
past. It's really I'm astounded every time I go on there and I'm wanting to look up something or or I quickly want to see how long a piece is or whatever it is, and then all these recordings come up. It's incredible. So I would say listen to music, but also keep the medium goals going. So if there's a concert, I know a lot of obviously schools are doing this, but particularly universities and conservatoires are giving these opportunities. Um, I'm sure a lot of teachers are actually organising either concerts or competitions, probably more concerts than competitions. But schools are definitely organising these events,
mhm,
and we can make them work. Either you record something or you do it on a Zoom platform. I think that's you need to give yourself those kind of goals and stick to them. That's the next challenge. Is really making sure that you have that goal and then you really do make it happen.
yeah,
And then the longer term goals, I think, maybe in terms of perhaps, I'm just thinking of what age it would depend on. Maybe, say, teenagers, they're already being aware of things like concertos and perhaps some chamber music, bigger pieces. I think it's worth maybe buying the scores and just having a little look through and seeing what might be necessary. What do you need to do for to
in the
be
future.
to be there in 4 years' time or 3 years? But I think there's many things that you can do, and I think this recording of oneself, I keep on saying it, but I think it's really been a big eye opener in teaching. Um, I think this is a really useful tool, and we've always talked about it in practicing, but now it really is coming to the fore.
Sure.
I think I would encourage self-reflection
Yeah.
as much as possible. But I think in many ways we can take a lot of good things away from how our teaching has had to adapt and had to adapt so quickly to our process. It's going to be wonderful to hear a real person play a real piano. I think.
Yes, exactly.
And let's hope we can get back to things. But there are many good things that we can take from our experience, and hopefully the positivity of music shines through because this is a special thing that we're gifted to be able to do, and it's you bring beauty to other people. What more beautiful and special thing can there be than that to make people feel something and hopefully feel perhaps even better after they leave a concert. So it's a
Well,
pleasure.
Mark, that was really fantastic. Thank you so much for talking to me and invaluable, really advice and so much energy. Really fun. So thank you, and bye
Thank
bye.
you for the series. It's a fantastic series, and
Oh,
I'm really, really honored to be
very
part of it.
kind.
Thank you.
That's very kind. Thank you, and bye.